Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan.
Well, I have a rave.
That's clear.
I know. This coming Monday, the first Danny Schechter Global Vision Award for Journalism and Activism is going to be announced. The winner is embargoed.
You know who it is?
I do. I'll put something up on the website when it happens. But Danny, wonderful guy, friend of this show. He was the WBCN news dissector, longtime television documentary maker, one of the first Western journalists to interview Nelson Mandela after he was released from Robben Island. In any event, the award is being given annually to a reporter who best emulates Schechter's practice of combining journalism with social activism and advocacy. It's a $3,000 award.
Wow.
That's
nice. It's a wonderful tribute to him. And Monday is his birthday.
That's so he died about a year ago?
Just about a year ago, yes.
Quite shockingly.
All right.
Yeah.
Callie.
Okay, so I have a rant for, I guess, all the cable stations right now, as instructed by the Asian American Journalists Association that sent out a note pointing out that the use of slurs against Asian Americans are just being allowed on the air at all of these cable stations with no correction
Really? What
from
kind
the
of-
guests.
what kind of
So
slurs?
Ann Coulter insists on calling Asian Americans mandarins. That's a new one. And Peter King has a liberal use of the word Japs. And they said, come on, people. I know they're guests. I know you're interviewing them, but this is not appropriate. Somebody should be saying something.
Who
Stop
used
it down.
that term?
Representative Peter King from New York. Yes, right in these days. So the Asian American Journalists Association sent out a letter saying these are our concerns. There are 3.5 million primetime viewers per day. This raises troubling concerns about, inculcating these stereotypes and certainly this language, and stop it. And I have a rant for the cable stations and a rave for
Well, they
the
should have a rant
AAJA.
for any cable station that puts Ann Coulter on, period.
Well,
Because that's a
yes.
whole other thing.
Send the
She's
email
not really one of the...
to Emily.
She's not one of the, so
She
the
can have
cable
a show with
station.
Corey
I mean,
Lewandowski.
it's not the hosts and the reporters who are doing this; it's their guests. So
I
they've
know,
gotta be,
and so that's I think we've talked a little bit about this over years. There's a little bit of how do you interrupt the guest, but you have to as the journalist and say, wait a minute, that's language. Let's acknowledge
do.
you got to stop doing that. But apparently they've just been letting it go, so they spoke up about it, and the AAJ spoke up about it, and good for them. Yeah.
All right, Dan, what do you got?
Well, I have a rant. I think that reporters need to do a better job covering distracted drivers as a public health issue. I've witnessed a couple of close calls and some accidents, people on their phones, they're texting. And when you look at, there are stories that are being done about how when you drive drunk, it's the same thing as if you're talking on the phone, or it could be even worse. But it's not really being covered as a public health problem. And there's more and more technology being put into cars that will help you socially interact with people, social media and so forth. So as they're doing that, a lot of people feel there's going to be even more distraction happening in the car. And so I think that
It's amazing there haven't been
true.
more, accidents. Because I was just driving with somebody
there
who
are
said
a lot of accidents. And just this week, I saw a family going across a crosswalk not far from my home, and the entire family almost got wiped out. The sad part is that the driver didn't even realize what happened. And someone ran after him and caught him at the light and said, do you realize what you just did? And he almost wiped out. He was on the phone, completely distracted. And I think it's a serious issue. And yes, it does get covered, but it needs to be treated a little bit more seriously.
They should
agree with
ban
you.
cell phone use in the car
I
because
agree.
of people like me, unfortunately. No, I
Well,
mean...
don't you have Bluetooth?
But it's not
I
even
do
that.
not.
You can get distracted even
with
if you
Bluetooth,
don't have the phone in your hand. Apparently,
I know.
studies have been done that
Yes.
shows.
Well,
it's the
that's
same.
like listening to the radio, too. I don't know. I get distracted with that, too. All right, Joanna.
I have a rant against the New York Times vows column, which is kind of an easy target because every week they take a couple examples of the most annoying humans on earth and put them on a pedestal and talk about their weddings. But the one last weekend takes the cake, it's kind of spread around the internet. It was titled "The Sound of Music is in His Blood and Now His Heart," and it featured a descendant of the Von Trapp family and his now wife, and it had all kinds of details like she brought him bread from a pastry shop, and so they called themselves Friends with Breadifits. He was fluent in Latin and fond of wearing three-piece suits and discussing philosophy and the human existence. They spent their Sundays watching British TV, or if their favorite shows weren't on, Shakespeare. And he didn't give her the first kiss until he had finished reading aloud a P.G. Wodehouse novel to her. It went online like wildfire, and there were a lot of funny annotations of it. One that I loved, which is kind of profane, was from a website called Postgrad Problems. That's worth a read if you've got the stomach for it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I can't even. I gave up on
I
that.
know. Oh, I don't have that kind of anger in me to read it every week.
No, I don't.
But you just did.
That's right. Now we're all in.
All right, so I have, and I actually want, maybe you guys can all weigh in on this, a rant against the Boston Globe for wrapping themselves in an advertisement from the Children's Hospital earlier this week. I mean, you know, it was clearly marked. It was obviously an advertisement, and a terrible one, because it was like, you know, it was all about diseases that could be cured, and it was like, I wouldn't even understand what the point of it was at first, and then, you know, but, you know, it just seems to me to for whatever extra money that was, to even just put a ding in your armor of credibility is just a huge mistake. I mean, put it on the back.
I disagree. I mean, at this day and age, in the economics of newspapers, as long as it's clearly marked, far be it from me to keep a newspaper from making money. No, but it is the front page. It's the front page, regardless of what they say. Maybe it's a cover, it's a wrap. Any way you look at it, it's the front page, and that's the first thing you see. And okay, we're sophisticated newspaper readers. A lot of people may look at it and say, oh, it's front page. It's all about Children's Hospital.
Well, there's a way to do this, and a lot of papers have done this over the years, and that is you don't go across the whole front, but you have kind of a wrapper that the front is, you know, half a page.
They've done that too, which is fine.
And I think that would be fine. I don't think this called their credibility into question. I just think it was a turnoff to anybody who might be thinking of buying the paper on the newsstand.
Yeah, because a lot of people in our newsroom hadn't seen it because they don't buy it on the newsstand.
Right. Granted, it's mostly home delivery,
Anyway.
but it looked like this on the newsstand, and you look at that and say, I don't think I'm going to
I'm
buy
not
it.
interested.
And they didn't wrap the website, so I missed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
All right, gotta go.
Okay.
All right, sorry. That's it for our show. Tell us what you think. Email us, tweet us, or leave a comment. We're always on at beatthepress.org.